Joining me on Impact Catalyst today are Sebastian Bourdais and Chris Russick with Kart for Kids. Chris being the president. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Happy to be here.
So Karts for Kids has been going since 2012, formed in honor of Dan Weldon. Chris, give us a little of, a brief history and sort of the timeline up till this fantastic turnout this year.
Absolutely, yeah. So, of course, Dan, being an IndyCar driver and a local St. Petersburg staple, perished in October of 2011 in Las Vegas. And he was a big supporter of All Children's Hospital. And like Sebastian and I, we both have kids that were born there. And a lot of folks in the racing community thought very highly of Dan. And so two gentlemen came together and said, "Hey, we need to start a charity in his honor." And that wasn't me. That was Dave Bassett and Paige Obenshane. And they started it and got things going, did a great job, and said, "Hey, we're growing. We need some help on the technology side and the auction side." And it was started with a gentleman named Patrick Long, who is the only American-born factory racing driver for Porsche. And so a bunch of us got together at that point from Porsche Club of America in the Suncoast chapter, and decided to help take Kart for Kids to the next level. Of course, Sebastian got involved, pretty early on, earlier than I did, and that really, added fuel to the fire. So here we are today with $325,000 donated this year alone. We've been on a run rate of over 300 the last several years, and total impact to Johns Hopkins All Children's just shy of $2 million.
It's fantastic. Sebastian, can you talk about what drew you to Karts for Kids?
I'm the helper, basically gathering the troops. We're a kart event mainly with the Pro-Am formula. So, kind of try and bring some auction items from pro drivers, teams, packages and stuff like that. And gather the troops, try and bring as many IndyCar drivers as I can, and guys from the sports car world as well. And try and have as many teams as possible at that event that we organize at Anderson Race Park. And it's been growing. Obviously, when I first joined, I think we're somewhere around $60,000, and we've grown steadily every year ever since, until we kind of reached that plateau, which we're hovering around. We had a small increase again this year and last year, taking it over 300, but it's now a pretty well oiled up machine with that Pro-Am concept go-kart race with 14, 15, 16 teams depending on the year and how many go-karts we can get. And the auction is obviously the big variable when you need people in the crowd to get a little excited and start fighting over racing items. But we're also very fortunate to have a bunch of great sponsors like Cardio Access and Firestone. And I'm not going to name them all, but we're very lucky to have some very, very generous donors.
So you have your sort of standard support for the race, and then you have this great auction where you have some race-worn items. I saw one suit went for $9,000, and there were some helmets, between $5,000 and $10,000. And then this year you introduced an art element to it in partnership with the James Museum, and it's sold some art as well. Chris, can you talk a little bit about how that came to be?
Yeah, absolutely. Some folks came to us and said, "Hey, everything we're doing is great, but we're trying to grow the charity, and we're trying to grow what our economic impact is to the hospital and how we can help more kids." And some folks said, "Hey, we can't make Wednesday during the day. Is there an evening event that we could do in downtown St. Pete?" And galas really, the nice thing about Kart for Kids is we don't have to get in tuxedos or suits. We're largely in shorts and a polo and helmets and gloves and boots and racing around the track. It's a great time. So it's not your traditional charity. It's a gala type of event. And some folks said, "Hey, but we're kind of into that. So how about something where we can come and drink some wine and enjoy ourselves around a racing atmosphere?" So we thought, how do we best capture that hasn't been done before? And on our committee is a wonderful artist, Samantha Zimmerman. If you don't know her, she just does tremendous work. It's all around motorsport. And we thought, motorsport has got a lot of art related to it, whether it's the helmets that are painted beautifully. Sebastian did one year that had inlays of children that were patients at the hospital, and things like that. I mean, just really. So, how do we incorporate the racing side with the art side, bring it together? And so, tremendous sponsor, Smith Fence, came in, put up fencing to make it look like a track inside the James Museum, and we hung all the artwork in there. We had several painters, photographers, and woodblock artists. I mean, it was really a neat show. And then we had two very generous sponsors who brought in wine. So we had Vassar Sullivan Winery donated all of the red wines, and then Carlocker donated all the white wines. And so it just made it for a really nice evening where we, came in, talked about some art, and just enjoyed some Kart for Kids atmosphere.
And talk about the relationship with all children. So, how much do you get to interact with where the money goes, and what's that process like as far as your interaction regarding the support?
Yeah, it's and Seb, I'm going to have you jump in here because I know this is near and dear to your heart in a minute. But the nice thing about Kart for Kids is that every dollar that is raised goes back to the hospital. We don't save. I mean, we keep a paltry amount of money to make sure that we can get the next year rolling. But every penny goes back to helping kids. This isn't going to go into a legal defense fund. This isn't going to go into some kind of technology that they should be buying already. This is going to go to helping the kids, the families, the people that can't pay for their own medical expenses, things like that. So it's directly getting to the kids and the families. To date, we do the All Kids Wonderland, which is basically any holiday tradition that you celebrate when your child's in the hospital. We have toys that are donated, and we sponsor a Wonderland where parents can come down and pick out toys for their kids to have while they're in the hospital, so they can celebrate their holiday in the hospital. We also do a patient relief fund, which is tremendous. So no questions asked. If you can't pay for some medical expense or some ancillary expense while your child is in the hospital, very similar to Ronald McDonald House, where they provide the housing. We don't even get into what is and how is the money used. The hospital handles all of that for us. So there's no, so it keeps it anonymous, if you will. And that's been a tremendous program. That budget is used up every year, and we hear great things out of it. We also do we did a project called the Angel Eyes, where it's a camera in every isolate in the NICU. And so when families are away from the NICU, you can see how your little peanut's doing. And I can imagine that when you've had a child and they need to be at the hospital full time and you can't be there, or grandparents can't be there, it adds that connection. I've actually had people, I travel for business, and I've had people stop me on the airplane when I'm wearing my Kart for Kids apparel. And they say, "Oh, we've seen your logo on the Angel Eyes. That's tremendous. We love that." So there's obviously impact there. One I'm near and dear to is a concussion research program that we helped start and fund with Dr. Molaroni, Dr. Ransom, and Dr. Amata. And they're just doing tremendous things. And not to get into all of the details there, but it's become the largest concussion research program in the world, and they speak internationally now. And I like that program because it isn't just about research and data science, but it's impacting children in a very, very positive way. And it also positively impacts their families. So over time, as far as mental health goes, I can only imagine if you watch the cognitive decline of somebody that you love and watch them degrade over many years. But if we can stop that now, then that's really helping everybody, not just the child. So those are the ones that are near and dear to me. Seb, do you want to jump in on anything?
Yeah, no, I mean, we obviously contributed to a bunch of programs over the years, and safety gears, I think, also for cars and bicycles and helmets and stuff. And, so we're trying to fill in the gaps and make it as relevant as possible to real impactful programs. Obviously, it's not always super easy to make it happen, but hospitals are obviously very complex and big machines. We're not trying to deflect money or in any other ways, but we're trying to have an impactful uh, outcome on the community and the kids and their families. And I think that's really been the keyword for us. And also the big keyword is that if we had decided one day to become more of a company, that is definitely not where my heart is. It's a real charity where everybody gives his time and passion to try and help the community, and so obviously nobody takes any kind of cut, and it's all for the kids.
So, and Sebastian, so you at the events, you get there. It's a nice, relaxing day for a good cause. Everybody's just chilling out, and you get into the carts. Now, do you go straight into beast mode then, and go for the win?
Well, yeah, it's pretty
Instincts kick
funny.
in?
I mean, yeah, definitely the racers in all the participants tend to rise pretty fast. So yeah, it's all fun and games until everybody gets their helmets on and get in the cars, and some get pretty competitive. But it's obviously in a chill atmosphere with rental carts, which obviously make it a little easier to sell to the pros, so they don't break ribs before the St. Pete Grand Prix and stuff like that. But it does get pretty competitive at times.
I'll jump in on this one if I may. One of the things as an amateur that I really love is how willing and engaged the pros are. At this last event in March, I saw many amateurs asking the pros, "Hey, we've not driven in the wet. How do we get around the corners? How do we make the carts work?" And the pros turned into coaches very quickly, and it's really neat. I don't really. I mean, I watch golf and see pro-ams going on, and you don't see the pros giving instruction to the amateur golfers a lot of times. It was really neat to see, and the amateurs really taking it to heart and making it work. I mean, it could have been a mess out there on slick tires and in wet weather, but no, it was a lot of fun. It was neat.
It was the first too, so we were pretty terrified.
Yeah, it was a little wet this year, I guess, for the first time.
It was.
Yep.
Yeah.
But everybody had the best, so I guess it was mission accomplished.
That's right.
Yeah, sometimes unexpected changes make things twice as fun because they are unexpected. So what's it look like for next year? Keep going with the art, or do you have some different ideas? How are things shaping up?
Yeah, definitely going forward with the art. We're already lining up artists for next year and getting things going. The James Museum was floored, excuse the pun, but how much impact that we could bring to their organization, and how fun it was. So they loved it. So we're definitely going forward with the art program. A big change this year for us is T4 Kart Complex has moved into Anderson Race Park, and they've brought with them all new Tillotson karts, which are tremendous. It's going to be a larger karting field, so that I believe they're getting 25 karts, whereas we've only had 15 in the past. So we'll have a larger field, and they're brand new karts. They should work amazing. Should be quicker off the line, quicker through the corners, and provide a very neat experience for the drivers that they haven't seen yet in the last 13 years. So we're very excited about that. There's some
more teams for grabs too.
That's right.
So
more teams.
If there are any takers on the line,
that's exactly.
We're calling.
And that's a great segue. So what are the ways that people can plug in so they can sponsor and be part of a team, get some of that cool instruction potentially from the pros? Obviously, they can go and attend the art event and buy art. How else can people plug in?
Absolutely. Just come down the Wednesday before the Grand Prix weekend. I believe it's March 5th this year, to Anderson Race Park. We get started around noon, and you'll see some warm-up laps. The Pro-Am goes live at 2 p.m., and we run several different stints, different races until 6 p.m. When we wrap up, you can bid online for a lot of different auction items. Traditionally, we've got one of the largest auctions in the country with signed motorsport memorabilia. Very unique experiences. One of the other things that's it's probably one of the most fun things I've ever done in my life is you got the opportunity to bid on a ride on the St. Pete Grand Prix track and we've had Porsches in the past, we've had McLarens, we've had Lamborghinis, we've had a lot of Corvettes. We've had really great cars, and the ability to go on track with a pro driver like Sebastian, Tristan Vautier, a guy named Mario Andretti shown up a couple of years in a row. And that's just priceless, frankly, to be able to be out there and see how these race cars handle on track. It's just a treat. So those are all ways to get involved and be more than just sponsoring. You can, be really engaged. We're always looking for new people to join the committee as well. We've got lots of things going on, and these things don't complete themselves. So as we grow, our committee is going to have to grow as well. So definitely reach out to us, kartforkids.org, and there's several ways to reach us, whether it's the marketing team or all of our emails are listed there. So
sounds like a lot of fun, and for a great cause. That's a good combination. Sebastian and Chris, thanks so much for spending some time with us and telling us about Kart for Kids. We appreciate it, and we'll look forward to a great event next year.
Really my pleasure. Thank you for having us.